The movie star married me out of spite after a fight with his first love. For 3 years, they couldn't keep their hands off each other, hugging and kissing on set, talking sweetly during interviews. Online, people said I was just a pitiful substitute. I never got mad. I just smiled and cleared up every rumor for him. Until one day, I got pregnant and secretly aborted the baby. He was furious and heartbroken, demanded to know why. I stroked his brow and calmly said, "Because I don't love you." The one I love was his dead brother. Everyone knew Jack married me to make Luna jealous. They broke up before the wedding, and Luna left the country in a huff. Jack didn't spoil her but turned around and married me instead. I wore a wedding dress that wasn't mine, marrying a man who didn't love me. Everyone said once Luna came back, Jack would toss me aside. But in the 3rd year of our marriage, it seemed like Jack started to like me. He made me breakfast, coaxed me out of bed, and would kiss me on the lips when I acted coy. In our sweetest moments, we were intertwined so deeply. At night, he'd whisper seductively, "Baby, give me a child, just as sweet as you." We acted like a regular loving couple, until the day I really got pregnant. Before I could tell Jack, Luna came back. That day, they made up. The day Luna returned coincided with their class reunion. Word had it her family went bankrupt, and she was borrowing money around. When Jack and I walked in, we saw a wealthy classmate pressuring Luna to drink. "Drink a shot, and I'll lend you 100 grand, he said. Luna choked on her tears, but still smiled and drank it all. When she saw Jack, she panicked, lowered her head in embarrassment. Someone teased, "Luna, if you need money, just ask Jack. Given your past, sleep with him a bit, and he won't refuse you." Jack glanced coldly and retorted slowly, "Don't fucking disgust me." A cigarette between his lips, he leaned on my shoulder, continuing, "Anyone who upsets my wife can get out." Everyone laughed, calling me sis-in-law, saying they envied how much Jack loved me. No one knew Jack wouldn't have come if Luna hadn't appeared. Luna glared at me, biting her lips, holding back tears. The guy who had been forcing her to drink put his hand on her shoulder, kneading it. He taunted, "What now? Seems like Jack doesn't want you. But no worries, I do. If you strip and please me in bed, I'll give you some pocket money. How about it?" Jack crushed his cigarette, his face turning icy. He still cared. Luna, holding back her tears, looked at Jack. Softly she said, "I don't agree. This lifetime, I only love one person. Even if he doesn't want me, I won't let anyone else touch me." Jack clenched my hand so hard it hurt. The classmate, embarrassed, sneered, "You think you're some virtuous saint. When given a chance and you refuse, you've got to be shameless. Tonight, I'll have my way with you." He grabbed Luna and tried to pull her away. Drunk and limp, she leaned into him, half-heartedly resisting. Jack's gaze locked on Luna. I could tell, for her, he had a murderous intent. As Luna was about to leave, Jack couldn't hold back anymore. He stepped forward, kicking the guy holding Luna over. He pinned the man down, eyes red with fury, shouting, "Touch Luna again, and I'll chop off your dirty hands." Chaos erupted. Someone started recording. I tugged on Jack's sleeve, hoping he'd stop. He turned to me, coldly asking, "Who do you think you are to control me?" I was stunned, loosening my grip. Luna rushed to hug him, crying, "Jack, don't fight for me. Seeing you hurt breaks my heart. I was so scared you'd really leave me." Jack didn't push her away. He held her, protecting her. Everyone watched as he left with Luna, leaving me behind. That night, Jack didn't come home. Luna posted on Facebook at dawn, "You said you'd never hold someone else's hand." Attached was a photo of their hands intertwined. The man's hand in the photo had a mole on the back, Jack's hand. The hand I'd never hold again. 10 minutes later, the post went viral. My haters cheered Luna on. "Go, sis, you and Jack are meant to be. You have to get back together." I've lost my morals. I support Jack cheating. Just can't stand that scheming bitch Rose being happy. Many waited to laugh at me. Some wrote to Jack, "Bro, that can't be you, right? I've followed you for years. I know how much she cares about you. Don't let her down." Bound by numerous couple endorsements, breaking the contract would cost us a fortune. Scandal was the worst fear. The agent couldn't reach Jack, so they called me, asking me to fool the fans, saying Jack was with me. I browsed my album, realizing photos of Jack and me were pitifully few. In those few photos, only I was smiling. In the end, I posted an old photo of Jack reading under a lamp. Shrouded in dim light, he looked just like the person from my dreams that made me cry. As soon as the photo went up, comments rolled in. "See, old Jack is at home with his wife. If anyone says he's cheating, I'll rip their mouth off." Everyone cursed Luna, calling her shameless, a publicity seeker. Until a few minutes later, Jack shared Luna's post. Under the hand-holding photo, he wrote, "It's me," openly admitting they were together, exposing my lie. For Luna, he ditched me once again. Luna's fans flooded my Facebook, mocking me. "Caught in your own lie. It's so satisfying. Rose, you fraud. Luna gave you 3 years, and you still couldn't win Jack's heart. What a loser. Who said I ever wanted Jack's heart?" I deleted all the information about him from my phone. I want a divorce. The next morning, the company called me back to handle Jack's scandal crisis. Unfortunately, I ran into Luna right when I arrived. Jack probably didn't want her to stay alone, so he brought her along. As soon as she saw me, she apologized. "Rose, I'm sorry about last night. I got drunk and posted nonsense on Facebook. Jack followed my lead and created trouble for you. I've already talked to him. He only thinks about me and never about your feelings. Typical guy, so clueless. The things people say online are so harsh. Calling you my stand-in. It's ridiculous. They don't know how much I want to thank you for taking care of Jack all these years." She gave me a sweet smile. I smiled back at her. "I'm Jack's wife. A wife takes care of her husband. No need for outsiders to thank me. But you, being called a homewrecker last night, don't take it to heart." Luna's face changed a bit. She looked me up and down, then suddenly stared at the ring on my hand. She laughed and said, "Rose, you're wearing my wedding ring. You should give it back to me." As she said that, she reached for my hand. I was irritated and waved my arm, accidentally hitting her face. Luna suddenly swung her bag at me, and the metal on it cut my forehead, causing it to bleed. She used a lot of force, hitting me so hard my ears were ringing. I lifted my hand to hit back, but someone grabbed my wrist from behind. Jack appeared suddenly, coldly warning me, "Rose, try touching her." When I turned around, he saw the blood on my face, paused, frowned at Luna and asked, "Did you hit her?" Luna, with tear-filled eyes, shook her head. "Jack, she called me a homewrecker and tried to hit me. When I dodged, the bag hit her. It wasn't on purpose. I'm sorry." When she cried, Jack's heart ached. Hearing her explanation, Jack patted her on the head and praised her. "Whoever hits you, hit them back. With me here, you don't need to apologize to anyone." I suddenly felt envious of Luna. Actually, I'm pretty prone to crying too, but the person who used to care about me is no longer here. Manager Nancy couldn't take it anymore and yelled at Jack, "This is your wife, you idiot. Jack, are you blind? Holding on to a fake girl. Is Luna better than Rose in any way? Have you forgotten you said you wanted a child with Rose? You forgot you said being with Rose made you feel at home. Are you sure you won't regret hurting her like this in the future?" I instinctively touched my belly. Inside me, there's a little life just starting to grow. Jack smiled, looking at me with no emotion, and calmly said, "Maybe I did like Rose, but Luna is back. Doesn't matter if it's Rose, Jane, or Emily. They all have to step aside. In the past, Jack might have liked me briefly and shallowly. Now, with Luna back, he's going to love her." I took off the ring on my finger, the one that didn't belong to me, and returned it to Jack. Jack's smile slowly faded. After a moment of silence, he reached to take it. Jane grabbed me, glanced at my belly, giving me a look. "Rose, don't do something foolish. You have already." Luna interrupted, reached out and snatched the ring. She put it on, found it a bit small. Her smile stiffened. Then she threw the ring into the trash can. She hugged Jack's arm, whining, "Forget it. Don't be mad for my sake. The ring worn by another woman feels dirty. I don't want it." Jack ignored her, only staring at me and asked in a low voice, "You have already what?" I gave him a cold look, then turned to leave. "Jack, I'm pregnant, and you don't need to know." Jack is very sharp. With Jane's blatant hint, he probably has some idea. I've been on medication long term, which could affect the baby's development. This pregnancy was an accident, and the doctor suggested termination. I don't want to hang on to Jack, just because of this child. Before the procedure, I moved out to avoid seeing him and to prevent any trouble from him. Though, I doubt Jack cares. He hasn't looked for me and continues living his life. Jane sent me a video. At an auction, Jack gave Luna a sparkling diamond ring, and Luna smiled, throwing herself into his arms. They looked perfect together, a match made in heaven. Yeah, I should remember. Jack said it himself, Luna is back. No matter if it's Rose or Rose's child, they have to step aside. It's for the best. The day before the procedure, I felt incredibly uneasy. I remembered the jade Buddha pendant my mom got for me before she passed away. It's still in the safe at home, so I decided to grab it. When I got home, I found the entrance code had been changed. Standing at my own door, unable to enter, I felt really pathetic. Annoyed, I called Jack, Luna answered, delighted. Rose, today is my birthday. Jack insisted on taking me to watch the meteor shower. We won't be back tonight. I once told him that lovers who wish upon a meteor will be together forever. I can't believe he remembered. I'm so happy. But I can't give you the entry code. Since we're not home, it's not appropriate for an outsider to go in. I hung up immediately, opened the keypad, and entered today's date. The door unlocked. The code was Luna's birthday. Inside, all traces of my life had been erased. Our wedding photo on the TV cabinet was replaced with a photo of Jack and Luna. They looked so young in the picture, Jack holding Luna, both smiling happily. My succulents were thrown out, and my study had been converted into Luna's piano room. I froze, then rushed to the bedroom, opened the closet, and saw rows of sexy lace lingerie, none of which were mine. The safe was at the bottom. With shaking hands, I opened it, taking out jewelry, cash, and documents. But no matter how I searched, I couldn't find my mom's jade Buddha pendant. The only thing my mom left for me. Luna knew about it, so she threw it out. Luna always hated my mom and me. When I was in school, my mom worked as a housekeeper at Jack's house. Luna would come over with her parents to visit Jack's house. The first time we met, Jack's parents introduced me to them. They said I was obedient, sensible, and hardworking in my studies. Very smart. Luna acted all friendly, saying she wanted to be friends with me. But behind my back, she said, "So what if you're good at studying, straining to get into a good college just to end up working for us?" Her mom wasn't any better, always smiling like she's so happy. A housekeeper happy about what? A poor mother giving birth to a little poor kid. Disgusting. When my mom picked me up from school and ran into Luna, she'd call my mom a bitch in French with a smile. My mom couldn't understand and would praise Luna to me, saying how pretty and sweet she was, even giving her some homemade dried sweet potatoes. Luna would turn around and throw it right in the trash, mocking my mom, "It stinks." Even dogs wouldn't eat it. My mom was left standing there, red-faced and not knowing what to do, while people around laughed. I threw down my backpack and yanked Luna's hair. Seeing me getting hit, my mom rushed over to shield me, only to get kicked by Luna's friends. Suddenly, she started bleeding heavily. That day, my mom was diagnosed with uterine cancer. The terrible cancer cells came quietly and then silently took my mom's life. That jade pendant, my mom got it for me before she died, praying on Mount Ling with each step. She said the Buddha on Mount Ling was the most spiritual. Holding back my tears, I asked her why. She smiled and said it was a secret, something she couldn't tell me, but I knew. When I was little, I had a severe illness, and my mom prayed to Buddha on Mount Ling for my health. She promised half her lifespan in exchange for my health and peace. Later, my illness was cured. The efficacious Buddha took my mom away. When Luna found out, she mocked, "Poor people, always believing in superstitions. What's the use of keeping trash? Better to sell a kidney or a liver, get some money for her daughter instead." At 2 a.m., Jack came home with Luna. As they walked in, Luna clung to Jack's neck, whining, "Jack, stay with me tonight, will you? I want to give myself to you." She was about to kiss him when Jack turned away. I was sitting on the sofa, watching Luna act pathetic. Jack's eyes landed on me. Luna paused, then turned and saw me, grinning provocatively. "Rose, if I'd known you were home, I'd have had Jack come back sooner. We didn't see a shooting star tonight, so he took me to set off fireworks, because he didn't want me disappointed." "Sorry, Rose. If you want to blame anyone, blame me. Don't be mad at Jack." I had had some wine, stood up tipsily, and walked toward her. "Where's my jade pendant?" I asked directly. Luna batted her eyes guiltily, still smiling. "You mean the one in the safe? I accidentally broke it while packing. It didn't look worth much, so I threw it away." My tears suddenly streamed down. I felt cold, my lips trembling uncontrollably. All I could think of was that afternoon my mom died, hugging me tightly and wiping away my tears over and over. She told me not to be scared. She said she wasn't leaving. She said she had talked to Buddha, that as long as the pendant was there, she would be too. I flung my wine glass at Luna. It shattered on the marble floor, shards cutting her leg. Panicked, she stepped back, hiding behind Jack. "That hurts," she whimpered pitifully. I grabbed at her collar, hysterically screaming, "Where did you throw it? Where did you throw it?" Jack tried to stop me, but I slapped him, yelling, "We're not even divorced yet. How dare you bring her here? How dare you let her touch my things? How dare you? Can't wait to sleep with her, can you? Jack, you're disgusting." He somewhat forcibly held me, stroking my hair to calm me. "Rose, calm down. I'll help you find your pendant, okay? Stop crying. I hate seeing you cry." Luna had thrown my pendant away that morning. It hadn't been processed yet. Jack drove me to the dump, speeding like crazy. He helped me rummage through the trash despite his usual cleanliness. All night, from dusk till dawn, we found nothing. When the sun finally rose, I felt utterly helpless. The golden rays hurt my eyes. I bit my lip to hold back tears, forcing myself not to cry. An old couple at the dump pitied me and helped search. At the brink of despair, the old lady called out, "Girl, come see if this is it." I shot up, my head spinning, sprinting through the trash pile. The old lady held a sandalwood box with shards of jade in it. It was my pendant, but shattered. I should have been happy. Finding it was enough. I tried to smile, but as soon as I did, the tears fell harder. "Mom, you said as long as the pendant was there, you'd be here too, right? But now it's broken. Will you still be here? Please don't go, don't leave me." Jack reached out to hug me, comforting. "Don't worry, I'll get it fixed." I pushed him away, shaking my head. "It's okay, no need." Jack's tone turned cold, almost seething. "Rose, whenever you say you're okay, I swear I want to strangle you. Can't you rely on me, just once?" I silently stared at him. Jack's phone suddenly rang. It was Luna. She was crying on the other end. "Jack, I wanted to find you guys and apologize properly to Rose, but I got lost, and some guy kept following me. I'm so scared." Jack couldn't care about me anymore. He lifted his foot and left. Just then, I received a message from the hospital. Today was the day of my scheduled abortion. On Luna's birthday, I lost my mom and the child I never met. Before entering the operating room, the anesthesia took effect. I fell into a dream of memories. That year, I was 16. With my hard work, I got into the top high school in the country. I was in the same school as Luna, Jack, and the boy I loved. That's when my nightmare began. I didn't understand why Luna loved to bully me. She'd bring her friends and stick chewed gum in my hair, or throw used sanitary pads into my backpack. They'd trip me when I walked by. They'd also pour dirty water on my head while I used the bathroom. I tried to fight back, and the teachers knew, but they did nothing. Later, during my period, I had such a stomach ache and had just found some painkillers when Luna snatched them. She smiled and asked me to kneel and beg her. I gritted my teeth, but wave after wave of pain tortured me. I was scared I wouldn't make it, and would give in to Luna. My classmates were betting on how long I could hold out. Seeing all the red 100 yuan notes on the desk, I couldn't help crying. Suddenly, someone leaned on my desk, casting a shadow over me. He picked up the money, counted it, and laughed roguishly. "Not bad, just consider it your tribute to Grandpa." Watching him pocket the money, no one dared say a word. He signaled Luna, still smiling but coldly. "Give me the medicine. This sick little duck belongs to me now. From now on, she's mine. Anyone who messes with her, messes with me. Got that?" He was Jack's troublemaking brother, always up to no good. I used to dislike him, but today, he helped me out. I guess, because he's often covered in injuries from fighting. The elders wouldn't ask why, just punish and scold him. Only my mom would secretly care and treat his wounds. Maybe he was returning the favor. From that day, this little sick duck had a loyal caretaker. When I woke from the anesthesia, Helen held my hand. She cried a lot, and I asked her why. She said I had been talking in my sleep for a long time. She asked, "That boy you love, where'd he go?" I looked at the tall building opposite, then closed my eyes. Whispering softly, he flew away with the wind. I turned off my phone and disappeared for half a month. Helen said Jack had been looking for me like crazy. The first thing I did after leaving the hospital was to take the divorce papers to see him. Jack was silent for a moment, then laughed coldly. He scanned the papers briefly and tossed them on the coffee table. He gazed at my stomach, slowly saying, "Before the divorce, isn't there something else we haven't discussed?" I smiled calmly and replied, "There was, but not anymore. I got rid of the baby. Don't worry, you're free of any concerns." Jack's pupils trembled. He was stunned for a couple of seconds. He looked down and suddenly laughed. "Rose, you disappeared for half a month just to do this, huh? I was scared you'd be sad. So I scoured the country to find a jade restoration expert. And this is how you repay me." He yanked me onto the sofa, pinning me under him, angrily demanding, "Why did you do this to me? How dare you? How could you?" Maybe I had been too obedient before. Everyone thought I was madly in love with Jack, including Jack himself. I looked up at his face, gently caressing his eyebrows. Calmly, I told him, "Jack, the person I love was never you. When you get angry, you look so ugly. You are becoming less and less like him." Finding a substitute comforted me at first. But over time, I realized, when you smile, it's not him. When you don't smile, it's not him. Even your hugs aren't as warm as his. I got tired of it. Jack knew who I was talking about. Tears suddenly fell from his eyes, landing on my cheek. I've lived long enough to see all kinds of strange things. Even when Luna left, Jack never cried. Yet today, for me, he cried. So interesting, so disgusting. I told him, don't feel wronged. Our relationship started as a transaction, didn't it? You used me to spite her. I used you as a stand-in for comfort. We owe each other nothing. I hadn't finished when Jack interrupted me. His eyes suddenly reddened, and for a moment, he looked like a lost puppy. He said, Rose, you're not qualified to say we owe each other nothing. When I gave Luna that ring, I wasn't happy at all. I tried to love her like before, but all I could think of was you. When you disappeared, I woke up scared in the middle of the night. Rose, you made me fall for you, then said we owe each other nothing. To heck with that. He grabbed my face, like a fierce wolf, grinding his teeth and threatening, divorce. In your dreams. Luna, who had been eavesdropping, pushed the door open and walked out, disheveled, standing awkwardly in the living room. She choked, softly asking, Jack, what are you talking about? As Jack was about to get up, I grabbed his tie, pulling him close. Seeing Luna clench her fists, I laughed. I asked Jack, back in school, though we weren't in the same class, you knew how Luna bullied me, right? We don't have to divorce, but I want you to get back all the money you gave her to pay off her debts. Right now, make her get out of here. Luna started crying, saying, Jack, everyone has a time when they were young and foolish, right? Besides, you know I was just joking with Rose. If she's mad, I'll apologize, okay? She knelt down and begged, Rose, I only have Jack. Please don't take him away from me. Jack, you know how scary those debt collectors are. If you don't want me anymore, if you want that money back, they might hurt me. Jack frowned. He stared into my eyes for a long time, before finally saying, I'm sorry. He's always like that. Saying he loves me, but always choosing Luna when it matters. I laughed and swore at him. So, what was with all that fake deep emotion earlier? You don't need to apologize. I was just teasing you. Jack, who you love is none of my business. Jack's eyes showed pain, then they turned cold. He pushed me away. He walked over to Luna and held her gently, comforting her softly. Don't worry, it's my fault. I'm sorry for saying the wrong things. I won't leave you, I promise. Luna cried and pounded on his shoulder, but clung to his neck tightly, afraid to let go. Seeing her so scared, I felt a twisted satisfaction. On the day Jack and I divorced, Luna was there too. She clung to Jack's hand, terrified I might somehow woo him back. When we got the divorce certificates, she seemed visibly relieved. When Jack went to get the car, she came over to provoke me. Rose, being Mrs. Jack for 3 years, consider it a gift from me. Remember, you'll always be the daughter of a poor man. Watch yourself, I'll destroy you. I yanked her hair, making her scream in pain. I whispered with a smile, Luna, I have evidence of your crime. Her face turned pale with fear. Satisfied, I continued, but don't worry, I'm not as cruel as you. I don't want you dead. I just want you to live a life worse than death. After we announced our divorce, Jack's reputation as a cheater stuck. He didn't care. Being a male star and an award-winning actor, a scandal like this meant nothing to him. People would forgive him. He started taking Luna to public events, issuing statements to clean her image, and paved the way for her acting career. With Jack's wealth and connections, he accomplished it quickly. Next time we met, Luna had just finished a big-budget film, and was making a high-profile comeback. Tonight was an old veteran's birthday. I had no choice but to attend. As I arrived at the banquet hall, I saw Luna with Jack, greeting me. Rose, long time no see. I heard you're working on a niche film. Struggling much lately. Seems like your resources have downgraded. Luna always pretended to be sweet in front of Jack. She seemed to have forgotten my threat to make her life hell. Probably thought I was bluffing after all this time. Jane snapped at her, Luna, if you don't understand, don't speak. Niche films don't mean fewer resources. The director has international awards. Your words could offend people. Luna's expression changed, but she smiled again. She leaned on Jack's arm and said, doesn't matter if I offend people. I have my husband. We were like that before. I caused trouble. He fixed it. As long as he's here, I'm not afraid of anything. Ignoring her, I handed over the gift money, signed my name, and planned to leave. Luna called me back, pulling out an invitation from her bag. Rose, I forgot to tell you, Jack and I are getting married in October. Hope you can make it. Jack frowned and gave her a slight side eye. No one expected me to stop and take the pink invitation with a smile. I spoke with Luna for a bit. Your confidentiality work is impressive. I hadn't heard a thing. Not like my time. Your husband wanted a live broadcast, letting the world know we were getting married. It looked glamorous, but it was quite annoying. Seeing Luna's expression change, I turned to leave, tossing the invitation in the trash. Mr. Jack, Miss Luna, I wish you an unforgettable wedding. I heard Luna threw a fit about the wedding. She fought with Jack for a long time, and finally made the secret wedding a public live event. How foolish she was. What's good about a public show-off wedding? Jack wanted to protect her, but she didn't understand. I counted the days, waiting for their wedding. After a class reunion, I received an anonymous video. An old classmate told me, Ethan's death wasn't a suicide. Sorry for not telling you before. I was afraid of Luna's revenge. Ethan, no one had mentioned his name in so long. That night, I watched the video repeatedly and finally understood why he died on the day he planned to confess to me. It was because of me. On Jack and Luna's wedding day, I watched the live stream, making sure I didn't miss their happy faces. Luna walked down the aisle in her custom wedding dress, surrounded by white roses. Jack waited at the end, looking so gentle. It was a perfect scene. Lovers finally together. They exchanged vows under the priest's witness, promising to be faithful forever, through better or worse, to never leave each other. That's when chaos ensued. A video suddenly went viral online. It was shot on the rooftop of a school. The footage showed two people. Luna's somewhat naive face was clearly visible, along with another boy who looked a lot like Jack. It was snowing that day. Luna stood precariously on the edge of the rooftop. She cried and asked the boy, "Would you rather watch me die than be with me?" The boy, getting irritated, replied, "How many times do I have to tell you? I have someone I like. Are you deaf?" Luna didn't believe him and continued nagging, "Who is it you like?" "Who? No one at school is prettier than me." "Is it Rose, that bumpkin? What does she have?" "I've liked you for 2 years. I like you so much I'd die for you." Would she dare do that? Hearing his crush being insulted, the boy laughed coldly. "I know exactly what you're like, Luna. Your little tricks might fool Jack, but playing games with me, you're way out of your league. I'll say this one more time. Hand over Rose's photos. If you keep messing with her, I'll kill you. Believe it or not." Luna glared at him, silent for a long time. After a while, she suddenly laughed, shrugged, and said, "You have no taste. Seriously, do you know how many people like me? You're just the least favored kid. What are you so arrogant about? I was giving you a chance. You want Rose's naked photos, right? Fine, come get them yourself. If you can't, don't blame me for leaking them and letting every man in the world see what that bumpkin is like." She pulled a memory card out of her pocket and held it high. The moment the boy rushed at her, she suddenly crouched down. That day, the rooftop was very slippery and the wind was strong. A boy turned into a butterfly, paused briefly, then flew away on the wind. I still remember, the sky was so dark that day. He ruffled my hair and told me to wait for him after school so we could walk home together. I touched the love letter hidden in my desk, blushed, and nodded. He never came back after leaving that day. That love letter is still treasured in my backpack. Someone interrupted the ceremony during the live stream and showed Jack the video on a phone. Luna's face changed. She grabbed Jack's collar, crying, "Don't look, Jack, don't look. It's not real. I didn't do it on purpose. His death had nothing to do with me. I never thought the rooftop would be so slippery. How could I know he was so useless he couldn't even stand properly?" Jack pushed her hard to the ground. Her diamond hairband fell off, her hair got messy, and her makeup smeared all over her face. She looked utterly miserable. It felt so satisfying. "Luna, when I said you'd be better off dead, I wasn't just joking." This scandal caused a huge outrage. People online started coming forward, listing all the bad things Luna had done since she was a child. Some were true, some were false. Netizens started discussing the impact of social status, family background, and upbringing on a child's character. Some said there are kids who are born bad. I completely agree. Luna was brought to court for causing severe social harm and given a heavy sentence. Nobody could save her. Jack was also implicated. He got blacklisted by the industry and disowned by his family. The funniest thing was, Ethan's parents, who used to hate him the most and even cursed him after his death, suddenly appeared on camera, acting all showy. They claimed Ethan was such a filial child, though a bit ill-tempered, but of good character. Their tears seemed real, but they didn't even know what kind of flowers Ethan liked. His grave was covered with chrysanthemums. I made several trips to throw them all away. He hated chrysanthemums. He was so picky and always said they smelled gross. I cleaned up his little home and sat beside him in the sun. I really wanted to talk to him. About what? Let me think. Maybe I'll tell him something he hasn't heard before. I like you.